This is your no bullshit guide to a happier life. Quick, but not necessarily easy tips to help you to squeeze every last drop of enjoyment out of your business and your life. My name is Helen Calvert. I'm a coach, a business owner and a parent, and I'm so happy to be here with you. I do swear occasionally, as the title suggests, so pop in your headphones if I'm not safe for little ears. Ready to go? Let's do this. This episode is sponsored by Caroline Boardman of Caroline Boardman Consulting. Caroline is an accountant who helps sole traders, the self-employed, one director limited companies and women in business. She doesn't just deal with your end-of-year tax return. Caroline provides her clients with support throughout the year, plus compliance and an approachable and proactive team. Accountants are not all boring or scary. If you don't get on with yours, it's time for a change. Caroline won't judge or patronise you, but she will answer all of your questions to ensure you can understand the figures in your own business. No question is too silly. Managing both work and life can be a challenge. Let Caroline help you to find the right balance. Caroline Boardman Consulting, connected and balanced accounting. Visit www.carolineBoardmanconsulting.co.uk to find out more, or find Caroline's links in the show notes for this episode. Hello and welcome to this episode where we are talking about spending money on ourselves. This one gets people going. We've worked so hard this season on our relationship with ourselves, and you might be thinking, yeah, I'm doing well. I've got this going on. Oh, I've got to spend money on myself. Oh no. This one can cause a few difficulties. It can be hard, but it is all part of our relationship with ourselves. Now, I am not a money mindset specialist. For that, you need to speak to Holly Danhauser, whose details I will put in the show notes. And of course, you can speak to our sponsor for this episode, Caroline Boardman, for understanding the numbers in your business. But here is my take on family household finances, for what it is worth. Money comes into your household from wherever, it comes in. Thank goodness it does. Money comes into your household and bills have to be paid. So the money comes in, the money goes out. That's like the straightforward bit. Any budget starts there with what has to be paid. The rent, the mortgage, the gas bill, the water bill, all of that stuff. Money comes in, bills have to be paid. If you have kids, they're going to need clothes because they keep growing. Clothes and shoes, all kinds of school shit, all of that good stuff. And everyone needs to be fed. Okay? So that's that. And if at the end of all of that, you don't have anything left, then any discussion about kind of spending money on yourself is unfortunately not, it's not that it's not relevant. It is relevant. It's very relevant. You need more income, but, it's kind of like, well, that's that then. The money's come in and the essentials have been covered. But if you do have something left, once the essentials have been covered, what do we do with that? Well, here's my take. How about with that, we meet the needs of everyone in the household? So do you know your needs? You should do by now if you've been listening to this podcast for long enough. Do we ever not talk about knowing our needs? List them out for the whole household. What does everyone in the household need? I don't mean food and clothes and shoes. We've just done that. I mean your needs. What is going to make your day, your week, your life better? What is going to make their day, their week, their life better? What does everybody need? Meeting everyone's needs, the needs of everyone in the household, leads to a happier life. I mean, no question. So what does everyone need? And then budget accordingly. So, for instance, to grab an example, you need a massage every month. And the man in your life needs decent running shoes because running is how he processes his mental health. And the kids need martial arts lessons because they love it and it's a great way to run off their energy and it teaches them body and mind discipline. Great, sorted. So That's what we spend our money on. Is one of those more expensive than the other? Probably. Who cares? If everyone's needs are met, so everyone's like, yeah, I'm having a much better week because my needs are met. Who cares whether this one costs this and that one costs that? It doesn't matter. Needs aren't just financial, of course, but money facilitates meeting a lot of our needs. For instance, if you and your partner are in desperate need of a date night, that date night doesn't have to be expensive. It can just be heading out for a walk together. You don't have to spend anything. But having money to spend on a babysitter can help that to happen. So money facilitates meeting our needs often. So let's say that the money's come in from wherever. We're not even looking at that. The money's come in from wherever it comes from. And the essentials have been paid for. And the needs of the household have been met. Bonza. Is there still money left over? In which case, hooray, like brilliant. Well, then you can have a look at what everybody wants. Now, perhaps here being a little bit more even-handed in how the money is split makes sense because the sparkly shoes, the Xbox game, the new book, they're wants. They're not necessarily needs. They might be needs. Everyone's needs are unique. So I'm not about to tell you that you don't need sparkly shoes. You might. But if we're talking about wants, I want this, you want that, they want the other. At this point, it's probably fairer to say, well, we've got 20 quid each. Get what you want with it, Now, we haven't mentioned here things like savings, pensions. This is not a podcast on financial advice or budgeting or anything like that. But, all that stuff goes in at the top with your essentials, basically. Whatever you want to do with your money, that's nothing to do with me. If you want to save a lot, if you don't save a lot, that's for somebody else to talk to you about. But, essentially, we pay for what we need to pay for. Then we meet the household's needs. Then if there's still some left over, we throw a party, a cheap one, and we, give everyone something they want. Now, do you notice, I'm sure you have, that we have not talked about who deserves what or who makes what money? We have not talked about that. We haven't talked about who contributes what. And I'm not joking, I genuinely don't see that as relevant. A household, a family, whatever you want to call you as an individual or the group you live with, a household full of love just wants everyone's needs to be met. Money, time, effort, headspace, physical labour, mental capacity, affection, attention, they are all contributed to a household. All of those things are contributions. It's not about this money comes in from here, so this person deserves X. There are numerous contributions to a household, and when money comes in from wherever it comes in from, let's be grateful. Let's be grateful we can all together, in concert, meet the needs of the people we love. And that will give us a happier life, which, oh my goodness, can that just be the aim? Just to all have a happier life. If someone is telling you that your needs can't be met because you don't contribute enough, basically just let me at them. Is that you then for the rest of your life? Because someone thinks you don't contribute enough, which, oh my God, just let me at them. But fuck that, fuck that. Money is just part of the contribution. And if someone's making you feel like you don't deserve to have things that cost money because you're not actively making the money, conversations need to be had there. I would leave it there. Personally, I would leave it there. As I say, a household full of love, surely everyone just wants everyone's needs to be met. But let's just take a moment, if a little bit more justification is required, and I hope it isn't. But if you are caring for children and perhaps doing housework, you don't have to be, doing whatever, whatever it is you do, contributing a little bit of money or whatever it is you do to keep your household running, the other person, how much money would they have to spend if you weren't around to cover everything you do? How much would they have to spend in childcare and cleaning costs and housekeeping and laundry and ironing? Whatever the hell it is you do, you might not do any of those things. Like I say, I don't think this is relevant. I just want everyone's needs to be met. But you can't tell me that you don't contribute financially just because you don't make money. You save the other parent a hell of a lot of money that they would have to spend keeping their show on the road if they're out working all hours God sends, if you weren't there. So just think about that. But as I say, let's just love each other and meet each other's needs with the resources that, thank goodness, come into the house from wherever they come in from. I had a client recently, if she's listened to this, she'll know who she is, there was a pair of boots she wanted. She'd seen them. They were glorious. She wanted the boots. She could afford the boots. Now, being able to afford something means different things to different people. That could mean she had the money in her savings. She had enough this month. She had a credit card. Again, that's not for me to discuss what affording it means. But she agreed. She was like, yes, I can afford these boots. So she wanted them and she could afford them. So we bought the boots and now she is enjoying the boots. What was not relevant? What was not relevant was the stories that were in her head about what it meant if she bought these boots and what other people would think and say. Pfft, not relevant. Not relevant. My goodness, do we get ourselves tied up in knots about stories about money, don't we? And what it should be for and what it shouldn't be for. She wanted the boots. She could afford the boots. She bought the boots. And now she's enjoying the boots. Happier life. Woohoo! Money comes in from wherever it comes in from, and we should be grateful. We're grateful if we get a money off voucher. We're grateful if we find a quid in the street. For my international listeners, that's a British pound. We're grateful if we find money in the street. We are grateful if money is earned, if money comes in from benefits that we're entitled to, if we win money, if it comes to us, we're grateful. Thank you, money fairies, for wherever the money comes from. And then we spend it according to necessity, then according to the household's needs, then according to what the household wants. Job done, happier life. Now, I appreciate that this has just run roughshod over all the stories you have in your head about money. And they have come from childhood. They have come from all kinds of experiences and beliefs, core beliefs, stuff that's deep inside. They've come from things other people say, things we've heard, and things we've done. And they're all there swirling around. Now, they are important in the sense that they are things to be examined, and if they're not helpful, they're things to be overcome. But putting them aside, money is just, it's what we eons ago decided to use instead of bartering, isn't it? A long time ago, if I had firewood and you had pork, then, I was going to say we'd swap and I'd say you have my firewood and I'll have your pork. Maybe we pulled them together and roasted some pig. But, money wasn't, that's what we did. And then life got more complicated and we had to come up with a way of being able to obtain things and get rid of things without directly swapping. So money turned up. That's it. That's all money is. And yet, my God, have we made it complicated, haven't we? And I don't just mean the international economic financial institutions, which are beyond my understanding, but just complicated in our own heads. And all these stories about spending money on ourselves, let's just step aside. You are part of your household. You are going to be extending your compassion and love to yourself the same way you do to everyone else in your house, because you have listened to the episodes of this podcast and that's what you're going to do. And you're going to include yourself in the budget. That's it. I know we could make it more complicated and talk about deserve and contribution and you do this, you deserve that. Maybe you don't. Maybe you sit around all day and do bugger all. I don't know. But you are part of this group that you have chosen to live with. And if that group is not full of love, that's for a different episode. Have a look at the one on unhealthy relationships. But I hope that group is full of love and just wants everyone's needs to be met. And maybe if your needs were met, you'd have energy to do more than just sit around all day. But just include yourself in the budget the same way you're going to be including yourself in the love and compassion. That's all I ask. Just include yourself. And that is another way to show yourself excessive kindness. And it's another way to squeeze every last drop of enjoyment out of life. Speak to you next time. Thank you so much for listening. Did you know that my first book is now available to purchase online? Check out the show notes for details of how to get your hands on a copy. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be so grateful if you could leave me a review, and don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are up. If you would like to work with me one-to-one or follow more of my content, you can find out how in the show notes. See you next time.